Hello everyone! Today we're going to talk about the fascinating film Malignant. Let me warn you that this video will include spoilers, so let's get this thrilling ride started. The story begins at Seattle's Simeon Research Hospital in the year 1999. Dr. Florence Weaver and her colleagues, Dr. Victor Fields and Dr. Gregory, attempt to treat Gabriel, a mystery adolescent patient who is inhumanly strong and can control electrical equipment with his mind. Gabriel kills many members of the medical staff and injures others in a particularly violent night. Dr. Weaver had believed that she would be able to assist Gabriel, but she now sees that she was completely mistaken. She tells her subordinates to shackle Gabriel to a bed in order for her to cut out cancer. 28 years later, Maddie Mitchell, a pregnant lady, returns home after work after minor labor pains. Derek, Maddie's husband, gets into a disagreement with her about her prior failed miscarriages. Derek slams Maddie against the wall, causing her head to bleed, and the slow dispute turns violent. Maddie locks the door from inside to keep Derek from torturing her any further, while Derek runs to get some ice. Derek wakes up that night after hearing some noises. In the dark, he notices a creature enveloped in shadows, watching TV. When he turns on the light, no one is present. The figure appears from behind him and snaps his neck. Madison rushes down from her bedroom, sensing something had happened. She tries to run when she discovers what has happened to Derek. However, the creature grabs her and throws her to the ground. She is in the hospital the next time she regains consciousness, and Sydney is with her. Madison finds out from her sister that she has lost the child. Meanwhile, the investigation has been assigned to detectives Kekoa Shaw and Regina Moss. There are no traces of forced entry into the residence, according to Regina, and the possibility of an abusive husband suggests Maddie's motivations for killing him. When they discover Derek's aggressive behavior, though, their focus shifts to Madison. Madison has secured practically all means of entrance to her residence by the time Sydney comes to visit. The previous miscarriages are discussed by the siblings. They are found to not be biological sisters. Madison was adopted by Sydney's parents when she was 8 years old. Sydney was unaware of this and grew up assuming they were blood relatives. Madison has no knowledge of what her life was like before she was adopted. It's almost like a blank canvas to her. Gabriel is the actual mysterious creature. He abducts a tour guide from Seattle's underground city and imprisons her in an attic. Gabriel kills Dr. Weaver, Dr. Fields, and Dr. Gregory one by one. Before killing Florence, the killer exposes his true identity. Gabriel, Florence's Simeon Research Hospital patient. Gabriel was hurt by Florence and other doctors in 1993, and he returned to exact vengeance. Madison gets a vision of being present at the scene of each crime, experiencing the horrible death as it occurs. With this information, she and Sydney contact the police. Kekoa and Regina both become suspicious. The siblings later visit their mother, Jean, who confesses that Madison mentioned Gabriel multiple times as a child. Meanwhile, Detective Kekoa Shaw discovers some pen drives stashed in one of Florence's house documents. He finds Maddie's real identity was Emily May, who was Florence's Simeon Research Hospital patient. Emily began to show signs of mental insanity during her 6th year in the hospital. She saw a demon and could hear his thoughts. To delve deeper into Maddie and dark Emily's mind, investigators enlist the services of hypnotherapy to help them uncover the repressed memories. The treatment was a complete failure. When tour guide Jane Doe fell from Emily's attic, the investigators were on the approach of concluding Emily as a potential psychotic killer. Emily was apprehended without delay by the detectives. They framed Emily for the murders of 3 doctors and her husband Derek by recovering a leather cloak and an angel knife from the attic. Sydney was adamant that her sister, Maddie/Emily, was incapable of killing people without remorse. To learn more about the mystery, she went to the now defunct Simeon Research Hospital outside of town. Sydney obtained some of Florence's study recordings on Emily at the closed facility and brought them home to examine the mystery. Sydney discovered through the tapes that Emily's birth mother, Serena May, was raped at 15 and became pregnant. She gave birth to abominable parasite twins, Gabriel and Emily, as a result of an immature pregnancy. Serena's relatives forced her to entrust her children to Simeon Hospital as a result. According to Florence, Gabriel was an extreme variant of a teratoma linked to Emily's body, like a tumor or cancer. Gabriel's body was made up of tissues, hair, teeth, muscles, and bones, but this creature shared Emily's brain. It was for this reason that Emily heard voices in her head. Gabriel was born due to a situation in which two embryos develop inside a womb but do not separate throughout pregnancy. As a result, one twin emerges as the dominant one, while the other remains undeveloped. Gabriel, who was still developing, fed on Emily's body like a parasite and used her as a weapon to exact revenge on the physicians and Derek. When Gabriel became violent and took over Emily's body in 1993, Florence and another doctor determined to treat the cancerous parasite and put a stop to it to save Emily's life. The teratoma, Gabriel, connected to Emily's brain, was excised by Florence, Dr. Fields, and Dr. Gregory. They took out everything they could and suppressed the remainder within Emily's cranium. As a result, the problem was not resolved at its source, and it was doomed to recur. When Emily's husband, Derek, slammed her head against the wall in the second scene, the damage roused Gabriel, and the rest is history. According to Sydney, Gabriel killed Emily's babies while feeding off the fetuses to rebuild himself, like a parasite inside her womb. As a result, Gabriel cracked open Emily's cranium and emerged from the intersection during the climax sequence. It had been shown that Gabriel was not a separate entity up until now. He was a parasite that had taken up residence inside Emily's body. He used his body to exact vengeance on anyone who attempted to injure, repress, or disavow him. Emily's mind was under Gabriel's influence. As a result, she had visions of Gabriel's killings and frequently found herself in unexpected locales with no recollection of the incident. Gabriel had already killed the doctors who kept him confined inside Emily's cranium by the end of Malignant. Emily's sister, Sydney, and Gabriel's mother, Serena May, were his last two targets. The tour guide, Jane Doe, was revealed to be Serena May, who was living under a pseudonym for unclear reasons. In the beginning, Gabriel kidnapped Serena and kept her alive to see the monster she produced by disowning her own children. Gabriel arrived at the hospital intending to murder his mother and Sydney. Gabriel stabbed Detective Kakoa with his angel dagger on his shoulder during a brawl. Gabriel seized Kakoa's gun and attempted to shoot Sydney, but Emily took control of her body and mind at the vital moment, trapping him inside her mental prison. Gabriel vowed to return, but Emily stood firm in the face of the threats, declaring that she would be ready for him. Emily eventually understood that while she had wished for blood ties her entire life, her bond with Sydney was stronger than blood, and she will always love her. Before the picture faded off, a bulb in the hospital buzzed, signaling Gabriel's presence and psychic abilities. The reasons why Gabriel possessed these abilities were not disclosed until the very end, and it's possible that the creators withheld this critical information in anticipation of a sequel film, Malignant 2. So now you guys tell us what you think of this thrilling film in the comments below.